Hi, everyone. Welcome to the latest episode of Tiki Taka. I'm Travis.
I'm Joseph.
And now, seeing that the January transfer window is upon us, we found it fitting to pick one team and perform a keep, sell, or loan analysis. So here's a sneak peek of what you can expect in this episode.
Someone has to go for good money.
I don't see him being better than Teo Hernandez was.
If you're going to call a youngster up like this and just have him sit on the bench and do nothing, just don't call him up in the first place. But when I watch Fofana play, the frustration and the annoyance that comes over, it's been a fun little ride. Time to go. I couldn't blame Pulisic for wanting to leave, like how I can't blame Steve McManaman for leaving Liverpool.
I think he can be the figurehead of this club and have the club built around him.
Keep him until you can't handle his psychotic agent mother.
Adrian Rabiot is overrated. I'm not running to the store buying an Adrian Rabiot jersey.
This business model is going to send Milan into administration.
He came back from Roma with a vengeance.
When Leao does make that decision to be at his level, man, is this kid good.
I will not consider Rafael Leao world-class until he does it on a consistent basis.
If someone did to me what PSG did to Inter Milan, I'd be dead in a ditch somewhere.
As most of you can tell from the clip, today we're going to be analyzing AC Milan. So today, Joey will play the role of sporting director and make decisions on who the club should keep, sell, or loan in this January transfer window. So he's taken into consideration each of the players' age, salary, potential, performance, etc. in order to do so. So without further ado, Joey, go ahead and take it away.
Let's start rebuilding this unfortunate dumpster fire of a squad right now. Mike Mignon. Obvious keep. I don't think I need to explain much more. I think what needs to be explained is how can Milan keep them as long as possible. I mean, he's been in constant transfer rumors for the past 2 years, I would say, of him trying to seek a move out. He doesn't seem like he really wants to stay. He wants a new challenge. I mean, the obvious answer for him is he's going to leave Saudi, but for this window, I mean, you need to keep Mike, and then if you can, keep him for another year or two until you know you have a new number one to go in between the sticks, because it's very scary back there for Milan.
Yeah, I agree. I wasn't too happy when he was, looks like he was trying to force that Chelsea move. Not something that I was eager to see. Although he's 30, I still think he has a lot of good years left in him. Yeah, I would agree. We definitely have to keep Magic Mike on the books.
If he could just keep his legs healthy for a complete season, perfect. I mean, he's the number one for France for a reason, obviously.
Yep. I don't see anybody taking that spot from him for quite some time. All right. Next one we'll go over is Pietro Terracciano.
He's
Where
a
do
keep.
you have him at?
I have him as a keep. You need goalkeepers. I mean, obviously you need at least 3 keepers. He's not on for very much, just $32K a week. He's played 2 matches so far. He came on for Mike Mignon, and he kept a clean sheet in that game. And then one match he started when Mike was out, he kept a clean sheet in that as well. So that's a good deputy to have in my book. Can't really ask for much more than that. And he's on no money basically. So pretty easy keep.
Yeah, you see this as at a lot of clubs, right? You have your main keeper who's probably in the prime, anywhere from 26 to 31. You have an older keeper such as Pietro, and then you have a young gun up and coming. And then it's, if Mike Mignon goes out again like he did, what was it, last year or 2 years ago? And they played a whole stretch with the second and even third choice keeper. So, yeah, I agree.
You have to keep these keepers. And I mean, next run, who Lorenzo, how do you want to try to say it? You can say it for me. You give me his last name.
Lorenzo Toriani.
Yeah. He's a keep, like you just said. Mike can be out for 8-10 games at any given time during a season, and that's just very, very unfortunate. You need Toriani. Last game he played for Milan was in the Champions League, and that was over a year ago. I mean, it sucks. I would want to loan him out. My heart tells me to send him on loan so he can maybe get some playing time and be that new number one that Milan will need in the future. But unfortunately, Mike just can't stay healthy, so he has to stay and just kind of rot away on the bench still.
Yeah, big bright future for him. So we'll keep him in our line of sight here. So next we'll move on to defenders. We'll move to Zachary Atekami.
He's played 10 matches so far this season. He has 1 start. He's only played 165 minutes total though, so a lot of his time is just kind of junk. He's young, so don't really want to sell him. So for me, I'm going to send him on loan to maybe get some more regular playing time, maybe somewhere in Serie B. It's very unfortunate that Milan likes to play with 3 in the back. Ideally, you do want to have an extra center half, but I think of looking at who Milan has on that bench, he's probably someone I do want to send on loan just so he can get some more regular minutes and develop a little bit more.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I mean, there's between him and you'll see a lot of players on this list have contracts until 2030. And there are a lot of young talent on the team. But in order for them to continue to grow and develop while pushing for the Serie A title, unfortunately, they are going to have to get some game time elsewhere. So I would agree with you on that. The next one we have here is Davide Bartesaghi.
Keep, 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 keep. 19, and when he comes on, he doesn't look like he's very out of place. He has 2 goals in Serie A, which, I mean, as a defender, it's really good. There's not a lot of goal scoring threats from Milan right now, so at least someone is bagging. He's winning a little under 70% of his challenges, around 69%. I mean, it's not the best in the world. He's still 19, so he's only going to get better. He's won half of his aerial duels, which is kind of concerning since Milan is a physical league. Again, he's only 19. He has time to develop. This is a very exciting young player for me from Milan. I mean, he needs to come on anytime a regular center half needs to come down and sit for after 70 minutes. He needs to come on right away and just keep playing as much as possible.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I do think out of all of the young defenders that we currently have, I would say Bartesaghi is the most prominent, up and coming, exciting one for myself. Next, we'll move on to Coney de Winter.
See, it's tough. It's very tough. I want to sell him, but I find that to be kind of unfair to him as he is a younger guy. He hasn't played very much. He's only played 11 matches. He's only started 3 times, 600 something minutes. It's not a lot of playing time for him, but I think a smart move would be to sell someone like him. Someone has to go for good money in Milan. It just has to happen in Serie A if they want to really compete, in the league again. It's great, as of recording, Milan is flying in the league right now. They look pretty good, but if they want to be serious, they need to make these signings that Napoli have made. I mean, they've gone De Bruyne, they've gone, for the love of God, Scott McTominay looks like a masterstroke of business, right? But
Yeah.
Napoli sells players and they have money to spend. So I think he needs to be the sacrifice to make Milan a great team again. He just has to go. I just don't really have any justification for how he plays. I think he's solid. He's could develop to be a good center half, but someone has to go. And the team needs money and it needs it bad.
Yeah, if you look at Napoli's strategy, they did get, I wouldn't say older players, but Antonio Conte has a tendency to go with the more experienced players. Scott McTominay, as you know, is not early 20s. He's pushing towards late 20s. So, between them and other ex-Premier League players, they're doing well in Serie A. They're killing it. But Milan's strategy seems to be different with keeping the young players. But I would agree. I mean, somebody, unfortunately, does have to go to fuel some of this finances. I'm excited to see later. I'm really intrigued to see if there's any other options that can fuel some money for you. All right. So the next one that we have here on this list is going to be Pervis Estupiñán.
He's a keep for me. I like Estepinian. I really liked him when he was at Brighton. I thought this was a great signing for Milan this past window. He's tends to be kind of a liability, which is unfortunate defensively. But what he does lack in the defense, he does make up, I think, brilliantly well offensively. He completes 82% of his passes when he is going forward, which I think is good. He's on that wingback role right now where he can fly up and down and just doesn't really have to worry about defending, which I think does play to his suits. I think, again, if Milan wants to get serious about playing and competing for the Champions League and the league in general, he's probably going to be someone that would be riding the bench and not be a regular left back. But I think in the current state of affairs, he's a keep and he has to stay. Because who else are you going to put there?
Yeah, I mean, after letting go of Teo Hernandez, we were looking for somebody to replace that spot. Personally, when we signed him, I thought Estupiñán was going to be a pretty good option, pretty good move, for us. But I haven't seen him hit the forms as he has at Brighton. So I'm a little worried. I do see, I know that it does take some time for some newer players to adjust to new leagues. I'm hoping that's just the case for him and he can hit the ground running pretty soon. But I don't see him being better than Teo Hernandez was at the moment. So in order to push for the Serie A title and make deeper runs in Champions League, he needs to regain that form of Brighton. If not, we got to replace him, I would say, in the next season or two.
Get Kostas Tsimikas, dude. He's riding away. Let's just thinking of left backs who would probably be available, and that's the only one that comes to mind. If there's a halfway decent left back on any team, no one's letting them go. It's just those kind of positions are at a premium.
Yeah, they're definitely hot commodities these days. All right, the next option we have here is Matteo Gabbia.
Keep. He's been, arguably the second best center half that Milan's had all season. I mean, he's played in 17 matches. He's only not started in the Supercopa, but he also played in that. He's winning 67% of his challenges. He has 7 interceptions. He's winning 77% of his aerial duels. I mean, he's what you want in a developing center half. He's 25, so he's should be hitting his peak soon. If not, this is it. But this is someone you need to keep, and you should really bank on having him stick around for a long, long time. He's good. He's very good.
Yeah, he's very good. Definitely, obviously a starter for Milan. I do think he's probably might be our best defender at the moment. I think he's solid. He's aggressive. He's a lot of interceptions. So he's kind of everything that you want. Now, I'm not going to put him on the level of, a Thiago Silva or Nesta, Maldini in their prime, anything like that. But out of the options that we have, I would say he's pretty good. He's still young, still only 25 years old, contracted till 2029. So yeah, I think we're going to be set in that position for years to come.
Mhm.
And next up, we have David Odugo, another youngster, 19 years old.
Honestly, I have no factoids, no more stats to say he's completed passes or played this many minutes. He's played 12 minutes all season. So I think alone would be really nice for this kid, or you should send him back down to the youth ranks so he can keep playing, not just hang out on the weekends, because it's kind of just a waste of time. I mean, Milan needs real players, and I understand that they need to field. I mean, they need to field bodies. They need people because they just can't go out and buy one. But if you're going to call a youngster up like this and just have him sit on the bench and do nothing, just don't call him up in the first place. Send him out on loan, or just leave him down the youth ranks until you think they're ready to, play. 12 minutes is a joke for a young player. That sucks. That's poor management, I think.
Yeah, I would agree. He's not a lot of minutes for him. Almost has that Kobe Mainu syndrome to an extreme
Yeah.
case. But
Has
yeah,
to
I
have
mean,
to compete for a position that he's never going to displace that guy in. And it's not going to happen. You displace Bruno. Come on, bro. What are you talking about here? And telling him to displace Pavlovic or Gabia, it's not happening, man. It's really not.
I mean, but then you got Fakayo tomorrow. You have other people that are still in line, so he's looking at fourth, fifth choice. So it's rough. Speaking of Pavlovic, he is our next one. Very young, 24, contracted till 2028. What do you think about Pavlovic?
I have him keep, and I think he's been the best defender Milan's had all season, personally. He started every single game he's played, 19, 2 goals and an assist, 20 total tackles. He's won 14 challenges, winning over 80% of his challenges. I don't think I need to justify any more keeping him. This guy needs to stay, and I mean, he starts for a very good reason. Again, 24 years old, like you said, another 4 years on his contract. This guy might develop into to be a pretty solid center half. I don't know about a world beater, but he'll be very good in teams. Any elite team will want someone like this.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think, when I was talking about Matteo Gabbia being possibly the best defender, I think he was competing with Pavlovic. And I have no argument if Pavlovic takes that first spot. He's been outstanding so far. Surprisingly quick for his height. I didn't think he would be that quick, but yeah, I mean, he's quite aggressive. He gets into the box a lot. I mean, obviously he's not putting the numbers up like Gabriel over in Arsenal, but he gets on the end of headers, and he's
Wait,
somebody
Arsenal, you
that
mean Stoke City? What was that? Stoke City?
set piece FC.
CSC, yes.
But yeah, Pavlovic right up there. And like I said, between the age, I don't even think his contract's a lot. It's like 3.6 million a year. So yeah, I think it was a great acquisition for us. All right, moving on to another center back. We have Fikayo Tomori.
Keep, my thing, he starts on that back three with Pavlovic and Gabia. 17 played, 13 in Serie A, and their 12 starts to go along with it. He has 2 assists, which I thought was pretty cool for center half, but he's disappointed me since coming to Milan. I thought when he first got there, he would develop it to be a very solid center half in Serie A, possibly one of the better center halves in the league, but it's just never really panned out for him. He's just been good enough, I think. And I don't know if that's me being harsh, but if there wasn't other players in the squad that I have already considered selling, he'd probably be on that list for me personally. He just doesn't move me like how Gabia or Pavlovic do. He just does nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I think offensively, the other two have the edge over Fikayo Tomori. Exciting prospect when he was over at Chelsea. I think when we got him, it was a real coup for us. However, I don't think he's been able to stay that consistent. He's had a lot of highs, a lot of lows. I do think it was a couple seasons ago, he had an outstanding season, but it's just between suspensions and injuries, he just hasn't been able to be the number one choice all of the time. he comes in and out of the team. But I think he's a solid backup. I think he still has, he's only 27. So he still has a lot of prime years left. I think he's only like on 1.1 million a year. So I definitely think it's worth keeping him. It's just, making sure that he gets fit. And next, we'll move on to the midfielders. So we'll start off with Yusuf Fofana.
All right, man. I don't know. I don't know if you're ready for this.
I think I might be.
Flaming hot takes is going to come out here.
Bring him.
I have him to sell. I think you need to sell. I think if you go looking at his stats, that sounds like a crazy thing to say because he is completing a lot of his passes, over 80%. He's created a lot of chances. He's recovered the ball pretty well. He has over 40, I think he has 44 recoveries. But when I watch Fofana play and when he has the ball at his feet, just the frustration and the annoyance that comes over. I don't know how to describe this feeling that comes over me, but I just know he's going to give up this ball or he's just going to do something that's just so boneheaded and mind boggling that I don't bother. I wait until they say, okay, Parma has the ball now, or okay, Fofana's passed it back. Because that's where all his pass completions are coming from, if we're going to be honest here. Searching balls. He's not trying to slice the defense open. It's just the safe pass to make. And he's been here for, a year or two? It's been a fun little ride. Time to go. He just can't be here anymore. He's a big, big sell for me.
I'm actually quite shocked that you put him in sell. I thought I might have been the only one in that camp here. I think when we originally brought him on, big hype. But looking at what I've seen now, I think he's completely overrated. And I don't want to say it's based on recency bias, but my gosh, I'm sure he has a lot of memes coming soon between his missing shots and passes. Even when I see him on the pitch, just trotting along and jogging, I'm thinking, 40-year-old Luka Modric is probably faster than you. It just doesn't. I don't see the burning desire to get back and defend, or after you make a mistake, it just seems to stay with him. So
you play in the middle of
yeah.
the pitch, like you need to be working hard, I think, and you're not, like you said, you're not a Modric where. Let's just discount Modric's age. You don't have the ability to ping a ball 90-something yards onto the guy's left foot. You don't have that ability. You don't get to just kind of be lazy. You have to work hard. You just kind of have to be that player when you have a Modric on your team. And he just doesn't do it. He refuses to do it at times, I think.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's lack of desire or he's just gassed. I have no idea. But like you said, if you can't ping a ball, 40 yards, or if you're not putting these through balls in, or your goals and assist numbers just aren't there, and you're just trotting around, what are you doing? So I couldn't agree more. I would definitely put him in sell. All right, next one we have here is Arden Jashari.
Well, it's tough. I don't want to get rid of all the young players because there's going to be no death when a senior player goes down. But I do want these guys to go out somewhere and develop. Unfortunately for Jashari, he has to be the one that has to take the short end of the stick, and he needs to stay. I think he can be good. I like seeing him on the pitch. He's only played 4 times. And he doesn't really have any super stellar stats, but just watching him play, I think this kid can be solid, and he just needs time to grow into that. He just got to the squad, so sending him out on loan right away in January just doesn't make sense. And I think just keeping him and just seeing how this train goes, let's ride it out.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think we should be getting rid of all the youth. I will say, though, that, this is a little bit of an odd year because we're not in any European competition. We just got knocked out of the Supercopa. So limits will be limited for these youngsters. But when it comes next year and next season, we're in the Champions League or Europa League, we're all in the cups. I do think that there's going to be a lot more minutes available for them. I think this is just a mishap year for them. So I would keep them.
Yeah, man. It was a great season last season and just gone off to a flying start so far.
All right. Next, we'll move on to Ruben Loftus-Cheek. And I'm curious to know your thoughts on this one. He's 29, has a contract expiring next year, June of 2027. Massive. I think he's like 6'4", came from Chelsea. What are your thoughts?
It was between Fofana and Loftus-Cheek for me to sell. And logically, if I am the director, it makes sense to offload the 29-year-old whose contract expires, next season. I have to get that sorted out right away. So it makes sense to get rid of Loftus-Cheek. But I think I'm going to get more money if I try to offload Fofana. I trust Loftus-Cheek more to be on the pitch than I do Fofana. He may not be as quick as him, but man, is he ruthlessly efficient and he is strong when he's healthy. Sometimes he's made out of glass, which is so puzzling to me. But when he's all glued together, He's a very solid midfielder to have, and I think you just need to keep him, maybe try to extend him for a year.
Like you said, the bigger they are, the harder they
Harder they
fall.
fall, yeah. So, I mean, that's just rolling the dice. But if between him or Fofana, please get him out of here. Please get Fofana out. Please.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely keep Ruben Loftus-Cheek over him. I know he's 29, so that was a good thing to point out. But I do think he's contributed more in the time that he's been at Milan. And yes, he's had more years compared to Fofana there, but his highs have been way higher than Fofana's. Fofana's, I think this is his second season with us now, and I just haven't seen anything.
Just doesn't move me.
Yeah, I think Ruben Loftus-Cheek can contribute defensively. Like I said, he's pretty tall, pretty aggressive. He's not afraid to get in there, almost like that, almost like a Scott McTominay. Almost, he can play that advanced 10. If we're playing false 9, he can play multiple positions up in the pitch. So
But it's
I
not
would
as
definitely
fun
keep
to
him.
say Ruben Loftus-Cheek as it is to say Scotty.
Absolutely not. And he came from a more legendary team in United.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's very true. Yeah. No arguments on that one right there, dude. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Next one, we'll go to my boy Luka Modric.
You already know where to put him. I don't have to justify this at all.
Where are you going, Sal?
Yeah. Get rid of him. Luca, you have to manage his minutes. Fine. If he wants to keep playing at Milan for another 2-3 years, yes, let him keep playing. When he is on the pitch, he changes the entire game. He makes Milan a very, very lethal team. He turns the team of, I would say, probably where they were last year, 5, 6, not middle table, middle of the top 10 squad. And he turns into a real, championship competing team. He's great. He's one of the best midfielders of all time. I mean, he took Croatia to a World Cup final. He's a Ballon d'Or winner. Luka Modric needs no justification. Just stay in this Milan side, I think.
Yeah, I do think actually there was a stat that he has played the most minute out of any Milan player. So
40.
Being 40 years old and doing that, yeah, he's definitely a legendary player. He's the most creative player. There have been arguments that he's maybe a little too advanced for the rest of the squad. And I think you can see that. I think his brain is just moving at a different pace. That
He
comes
wants
with
people to make those runs that they just don't see. It's not
yeah,
there.
exactly. I mean, he's a legend. He's gonna go down in my books as one of my favorite players. I wish we would have had him in his prime, but I'm still happy that we have him now. But I do think you're right. His minutes do need to be managed. It's lucky that we're not playing, I guess, if you want to call it lucky, in any European competitions, so he can maximize his potential in the league this season. But for next season, I think we are going to have to get some of these young midfielders some minutes because, yeah, it's going to be tough for him to play all those games next year.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. He's gonna sit out, cup games for sure. Probably a few Serie A games here or there if they do play in the Champions League. I mean, it's gonna be tight. I think Milan
Definitely.
is taking everybody's old girlfriend. They just want the old
Yeah.
ladies right now. It's weird. They don't want
Yep.
any talent.
All right, so let's move on to Captain America, Christian Pulisic himself.
He can't leave. I mean, he's kind of he's not the level of player Modric is, but he's at that degree where he cannot leave this club by any means necessary. And it's so great that he's just waiting to see where Milan qualify for the season to sign that new contract. Because
He does have the same Croatian roots.
he does, but he wants to play Champions League, and Luka's won Champions League. It kind of doesn't matter to him anymore. I think Luka Modric just wants to win Serie A, and he'd be happy doing that with Milan. But Pulisic is 27. He wants to compete. It's time's running out for him for all intents and purposes. For the way he plays, he's been injured a lot. At some point in a few years, those legs are just going to be done. So if you cannot let Pulisic leave. He has to stay. I mean, he grabbed that brace, at time of recording 2 weeks ago, and came on as a substitute.
Yeah, I think it was in, less than 10 minutes?
Yeah, I mean, you can't let someone like that leave. Any team wants Christian Pulisic on their team,
Would you blame Pulisic if he wanted to leave?
No, I couldn't blame Pulisic for wanting to leave, like how I can't blame Steve McManaman for leaving Liverpool. They're leaving at a time where the squad's not competing for anything. Not at all. I mean, I would have understood if he tried to force a transfer out this year, right? I mean, there's no Champions League being played. It's not a squad where you're super confident you can win any of the league cups, even the league, point blank. So I wouldn't blame him for leaving. If they don't qualify for Champions League, he's gone. That's happening for sure.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm sold on that he's gone, but I do have another question for you. Where do you think his ceiling is? Which club, if he did leave, would he be able to go to? Are we talking Real Madrid, Barcelona, Manchester City? Because I personally feel like this might be his cap.
I think, yeah, I agree with you on that, and it's kind of unfortunate because I think that move to Chelsea all those years ago is the reason why a club like Milan is his cap, if that makes sense. I mean, he went to that Chelsea side. He just had to compete with a million other people, wasn't really playing that all that often, fell out with the managers, had to play out of position, got hurt a bunch. He lost a lot of valuable, development time. He lost out on all that stuff. And I want to say he could go to a city and just ride the bench there. He could do the Grealish role. I think he would excel in the Grealish role with Pep, but City's already, rearmed and reloaded with better players than this guy, and they're younger than him. So I take him at Liverpool. Be fun. We need someone on the left.
It is possible. I mean, you guys do need somebody on the left. I mean, but you still have, like a TK and Isak who technically could play there.
Well, we don't have Isak for probably the rest of this season,
Just like
unfortunately.
that, huh? Within a blink of an eye.
Yeah, just so great. He scores a goal. Yes. Why isn't he celebrating? Why the fuck isn't he celebrating? Yeah.
At least it could be a little bit more settled now that you don't have to force Isak into the squad. It gives Ekatike more time to gel, build some chemistry with his wingers.
Yeah, and then especially if they do move someone like Pulisic over there, I think Pulisic is going to try to feed his strikers any chance he gets, and he likes to cut inside, which works in the Premier League. If you cut inside and have a fullback overlapping, it works. It's worked, for over 20 years. So if he does leave next season, I think maybe going back to the Premier League would be a good move. A shock move to Germany would be fun, but Bayern's not going to take you, so you're just kind of going to Germany just for the feel good points and the memories.
So here's my take on Pulisic. I personally think he'll stay. I think he's a big fish right now in a small pond, so to speak. As big of a club as Milan are, they're nowhere near the glory days. That's just a matter of fact. I think this is the best football that he has ever played, particularly, last season and this season. He's just been on fire. A little bit of injuries this year. Overall, he's been, I think, Milan's best player over the last couple seasons. And that's not something that I would have said when we signed him. I thought he would be maybe a rotation player, or maybe he would be decent, especially looking at towards the end of his Dortmund and Chelsea career. He was just riddled with injuries. But he's been more healthy here than he has anywhere else. He's contributed with more goals and assists. Yes, he's in his prime, but I do think he has just been outstanding. I think he has hit new levels that even I didn't expect him to hit. So I'm, dare to say, a massive Pulisic fan, and I would want him to stay at Milan. I think he can be the figurehead of this club and have the club built around him. But I do feel like he gets the short end of the stick. I think it's because he's American, because he doesn't have, the height, and he's not considered world class in some people's eyes. He's not played in his favorite position. We'll get to Liao later, but obviously when you have a name like Liao, all these coaches might be afraid to bench Liao and put Pulisic in his place. So yeah, I think Pulisic should be the starter on the left, but we'll see which coach has the guts to do so.
Yeah, I do agree with you on that. I think, I just gave Pulisic this guy was trying to say he's not necessarily world class. He is a very, very good player. He's very, very good. There's a reason why he's on an AC Milan. Milan, again, as much as we're shitting on this club, they try not to sign bums or anyone who doesn't, want to represent a club in this institution, And whenever Team USA fails, it's on Pulisic. When Milan fails, it's on Pulisic. And I do think that is an inherent American bias that does exist in football. And you can, kill me all you want, say I'm an idiot, don't know what I'm talking about. But when Weston McKennie, who has been a regular starter on Juve for 4 or 5 years, has to prove himself every single time when there's a new manager that he belongs there, that's weird. It's weird, man. Timmy Weah. Weah's not the best striker, but you put him out wide, he's exciting. Why do these Americans constantly have to prove themselves time and time again? And I think that's just a larger thing within European football. There's certain places where if you come from X, Y, and Z region or country, you have to work a little harder. My number one example is going to be Mo Salah. This is a completely different argument now, but I think Pulisic does get a lot more flack than he's really due. He's playing in a side that is not very good. He's almost at the level of Modric where he's better than almost everyone here. He knows he's better than these guys. And he just is making these passes, trying to make these runs and these moves. And his teammates just don't understand, what they're trying to do here. So, yeah, man, it sucks.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't put him at the same level or anywhere near Modric, but I would say that Pulisic is somebody that you can never question their work ethic. He doesn't trot back or walk back or hang his head low if they get scored on. He is like, how do I say this? Maybe like a James Milner. He's just an engine. He's always running,
He's just a
always
workhorse.
going.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna
And
put
work
his
hard
heart
for
out
you.
there. He wears it on his sleeve, good, bad, or indifferent. So that's the kind of player that I like. So I'm huge on keeping him.
He's got the heart of the lion, dude.
That's right.
The
That's why he's
celebration
Captain
he does.
America.
Something, dude. It's got the heart of something, man.
All right, so that's enough on Pulisic. Let's move on to Adrian Rabiot. 30 years old, has a contract till 2028. First season with Milan. I think he's making about 10.7 million a year. So, what are your thoughts on him?
Are you ready for another flaming hot take? I'm
Let's
actually a
go.
big fan of Adrian Rabiot. Big fan of Rabiot. And I say keep him. Keep him until you can't handle his psychotic agent mother anymore.
She got him a good deal.
She
A
does it
very
again.
good deal.
Every team in the world knows that his mom is a nut job, but he is so good that teams are willing to put up with it. And again, he's right there with Pulisic and Modric for me, where I don't think I need to justify Rabiot being here. Any team in the world is happy to have Rabiot. That's why he's played for some of the biggest clubs in his career. I mean, he's played for Juve, he's played for PSG. He's good. Rabiot is very, very good. And yeah, keep for as long as he wants to stay, or again, as long as you can handle his psychotic mommy.
Yeah, no, I think this is the one where I'm going to disagree. I actually couldn't disagree more. Between having his mother as the agent who has caused issues off the pitch, I mean, on the pitch, I think he's good. I don't think he's amazing. I personally, this is going to be my hot take, if you will. I think Adrian Rabiot is overrated. I know a lot of people like him. I know Deschamps loves him. I don't see it. I don't see it. He's not as creative as Modric. He's not as mobile as, I don't know, let's say Christian Pulisic. He's tall, but he's not particularly aggressive in the air. I mean, I don't see what the hype is. I don't see I personally think the money could be better spent elsewhere. I didn't want to at United, so I was thankful for that. But then I heard this link at Milan, and my head just went down all over again. So, um, obviously, I'd rather have him over Fofana, but I don't think, I'm not running to the store buying an Adrian Rabiot jersey.
But you don't think he tends to be in the right place in terms of when the opposition's in transition? He does a very good job of stopping that. He does know where that next pass is going to be most of the time. And he's not mobile, but he doesn't need to be because he's either making that interception or he's right there to make that good tackle.
I mean,
He doesn't have Luka's creativity, but he makes
he's
the
no
good forward
Casemiro.
passes.
He's
Yeah.
no Casemiro. He's no Sergio Busquets. If you want a player like that, great. But he's not them. He's kind of like a jack of all trades where he's good at everything, but not great at one particular things. It's just not in it for me. Obviously, in this, if I were you, I would put him in the keep category just because it's his first year and it's unrealistic to think that we would be able to offload him in January. But after a year,
Who knows?
maybe two, yeah, I mean, he's already going to be over 30. I didn't think this was a good buy. You have to keep it in perspective. Look at who we got rid of, right? Over the last, few seasons, we've gotten rid of Tijani Reinders, Tonali. I mean, these guys I would have over Rabiot any day, then and now. So when you go
Reinders
from
or
that to
the King,
Rabiot, I'm just like, ugh, we're buying older players again. It's this whole, that era when we were getting Ronaldinho past his prime. And
Mhm.
it just,
But
my
even then,
shoulders.
Ronaldinho had something to offer. He still
He
had more to
did, and he had a lot of flair. He sold a lot of jerseys, brought a lot of entertainment, but there's no denying that he was out of his prime.
Yeah.
He was still great, but that was, for me, the defining moment when we started signing older stars, kind of like how the MLS was doing for a while. It's just, we're signing older stars. We need the up and coming stars. You wouldn't see Man City signing him right now.
No, never.
You wouldn't see Barca signing him. The best teams in the world are not signing it. Real Madrid wouldn't sign. Like, let's just be real. They're not
Well, his
signing.
time's come and gone for sure. It's totally come and gone for him, right? But like you said, he's still a good all-around player. I think he's more of a Milner. Anyone on the squad,
I would rather have Milner.
Oh, I take Millie any day of the week, dude. I mean, I come on, what can't be said about James Milner that hasn't been said before? If you don't rate James Milner, you should stop watching football. My thing, you know.
There's your Liverpool bias coming in.
Come, dude. Liverpool, that's my Leeds, bro.
That's
Bias,
true.
man.
Right?
Brighton, dude. City. Come on.
That's true. It was a long time ago. We'll move on to the next player. Ricci. Personally, exciting young talent. I would put him maybe not play in the same spot all the time, but I would rather give him minutes than Rapio. So I'm sorry, I already put him in keep. You tell me what you want to do with him.
Yeah,
But
you did the right thing. You did the right thing. Don't worry. Don't worry. A goal and 2 assists in Serie A. I mean, completes 90% of his passes. Who the hell is this kid?
I'll tell you who he is. He's going to be the next Tonali and Tijani Reinders that we sell in like 2 years.
I know. Don't say that though, man. Just
I
don't
know.
put that
I'm not
exist.
trying to jinx it, but just looking at what the ownership group has done with the squad over the last couple of years, how can I say anything different?
It's the weirdest business model of all time. You know, I mean, it's not going to happen tomorrow. It's not going to happen next year in 2 years. But this business model is going to send Milan into administration. That's what's going to happen because the team's just going to get worse and worse and worse. And Serie A, I mean, look at Como, dude. Como's all young talent. Serie A is going to catch on to that at some point, and it's going to realize we should just keep having these young players. And then
I
Milan
hope
is
so.
going to be stuck with no prize money, not selling any tickets because, you know, there's guys that your grandpa used to watch still playing for this squad. Bad.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, maybe this is premature in saying this, but by letting the viewers know, one of these days, I'd love to do a segment on the what ifs. What if, for example, Milan kept the players that they'd let go? Can you imagine a midfield Tijani Reinders, Ricci, and Tonali? I mean,
You mean
dude,
that
they would have an
the whole team
outstanding
is supported by
team.
Gianluigi Donnarumma?
Yeah. Imagine if we would have held on to him. I mean, so many stars that are considered world-class players now have just come and gone. And I get it. They want to win trophies, and Milan isn't at the point where they're going to compete for Champions League titles. I understand. But if they each held on for a little bit more, then great. Even when we let go of Tijani Reinders, I was so pissed because we let him go for pennies.
Nothing.
Pennies, man. And we brought in
30
Rabiot.
million.
Why are we paying Rabiot so much money? People like that. Luka Modric, I get. He's won titles more, I would say he's a much better player than Rabiot even till this day. So I don't mind spending money on him. But Rabiot is, I think, almost twice the amount, or no, he's about 25% more as far as pay goes. He's hitting over 10 million a year. Modric, I think, was at 7.5. So it's not worth the money. Why did we get rid of Reinders and spend the money on an aging Rabiot? What are we doing?
It's feels like someone is doing a EAFC manager career and they stopped watching football about 5 years ago.
Pretty much.
And they're signing people who they remember being good or were going to be super good. Like that's where Milan's at this point.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to your boy, Alexis Salamakers.
Well, are you ready?
No, I sense a little hesitation. You and I were just talking about him a couple weeks ago. This guy was your boy. What happened?
I know I'm going to keep him, dude. I just wanted to
Ah.
get you a little worried. No, we're keeping this guy.
Oh man, I think I would have let you have it if you said no. I mean, if this was last year or 2 years ago, I would agree with you. I mean, obviously he was on loan, but I just didn't see the spark. I think this year he came back. I think it was at Roma. He came back from Roma with a vengeance, and he said, "I'm going to make my mark on this team, and I will show you that I can be a starter." So based on this season alone, I don't want to say recency bias, but he, for me, has earned his stripes.
He's
No pun
played all
intended.
19 games, dude. I mean, he has a goal and 2 assists in Serie A. He's completed 80% of his passes. Whenever I'm watching Milan play and he has the ball, I get very excited because he's going to try to dribble around 80 million people, or he's going to just try to ping a ball to just empty space and hopefully someone's making that run. He's not at Modric level, but he's right there with Pulisic and Modric to me where he's thinking too advancedly for a lot of the people around him. And he's 26, so he's not going to get, levels and levels better, but he is going to get better. And this is someone that you want to have, I think, playing on the right. I think it's weird having playing the wingback role. Me personally, I would get away from having 3 center backs because it's stupid to do that. And I put him on the right wing with Pulisic playing on the left. Whoa, hot take. I know.
Look, there are some teams that I think 3 in the back can work for. I think when Allegri was at Juventus, it worked well for them. Personally, I think right now Liverpool could probably benefit from a back 3 because they need to solidify the defense, and the 2 that they bought in Frimpong and Kirkes can play that role. So it was a little weird when they didn't play that. Salamakers, I would agree, is not a traditional wingback, but he is killing it at wingback. Although the numbers won't show it, I do think you see his work ethic, and it's second to none, man. This guy might be the hardest worker on the team. He is just up and down that wing constantly. When we had the Milan derby, the derby della Maddalena, he shut down DeMarco. He shut down DeMarco like there was no tomorrow. And yes, that inhibited him from playing a little bit more attacking that game. But wow. I mean, 26 years old. He's only on 1.5 million a year. Like you said, he's not going to go levels and levels and levels better. He's not going to be, Real Madrid per se. But for this team where we are right now, I think it would be stupid not to keep him.
Yeah, he has to stay.
All right, now let's move on to the forwards here. So let's first take a look at Santi Jimenez, another young guy, got from Netherlands, right? I mean, he's 24. Contract expires June 2029. Can you tell me about him?
I can tell he's injured. So I think selling or loaning him is kind of unfair. So he just by default gets to stay. He gets to stay. Look, when he came in last January, I thought it was good and I wasn't super excited by it, but I understood why it had to happen. Milan needed a 9, needs it bad. They hate for some reason Divock Origi, whatever reason. But
come on,
Jimenez has surprised me. He's not bagging week in, week out, but he's pretty solid. He does work hard enough. And when he is on his day, he is a very solid 9. So just by default, I mean, I don't have nicer things to say. He just gets to stay.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of years ago, when he was playing in Holland, this Mexican star had a lot of people just saying he's going to be the next big thing for the Mexican national team. He's going to take over Raul Jimenez's spot. And I was like, okay, cool. This sounds like a great acquisition. Personally, I don't watch a lot of the Dutch league, but just looking at some of the people that have transitioned, specifically on the offensive side of the Dutch league to other leagues, have struggled. So I had my doubts. But yeah, I thought he would be doing better than he is now, but I didn't think he was going to be a world beater by any means. But man, is he struggling. Part of it could be service. Part of it could be the interchanging of coaches left, right, and center each year. Looks like we're going to stick with the Allegri for a while. But I think I'm with you, man. It's hard to sell because, he has his contract until 2029. But if I had a chance,
if someone wants him, you can take him.
I do think Giroud leaving was a little early, and I know he was already over 30. I think he was like 35 at the time, but he was banging in goals for us still.
He was still,
I think he could have taught some of these youngsters.
Yeah.
All right, next we're going to move on to Rafael Leao, 26 years old. Contract expires June 2028. He's on about similar contract as Luka Modric, about $7.5 million a year. I'll let you go first, and then I'll chime in.
I like how you set that up. That makes me think you might say something crazy. And reveal your heart of hearts. So now within my heart of hearts, I know Leao's not a hard worker. He is very lazy. He decides when he wants to play and, be at his true level. I think when Leao does make that decision to be at his level, man, is this kid good. He is great at football, man. He's been there for a long time, a good amount of time, and not bored of him yet. I will say I'm getting more and more frustrated with him. It's getting very annoying, but I think Leao has to stay just because he is one of the best players on the team. For a long time, he was the best player on Milan, the absolute best player. And unfortunately, even again, with his work ethic, it's very annoying, but I don't think a Luka Modric, even as much as he grew up loving Milan, would want to come play for AC Milan if Leao wasn't, doing what he was doing when this team was horrid.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with you on that last point. I do think Luka Modric would have came regardless of if Leao was here. He's been a fan since he was a kid. Maybe it was misleading in the beginning. Realistically, we can't get rid of him in January. It would be pretty dumb to do that, so I would also put him in the keep category. However, my take on Leao, if this was the summer category, bye, Felicia. Bye. If you can't already tell, the style of player that I like needs to be a workhorse. It's plain and simple. You can have all the talent in the world, but if you have zero work ethic, it means nothing. I mean, this comes from my own experience of playing with players, but also just watching. It's bad. Yes, he he has the highest ceiling out of any player on this team, maybe other than Luka Modric, but he's well past his prime. However, Rafael Leao shows up in 1 out of every 10 games. To me, that is not good enough to be considered world class. So I will not consider Rafael Leao world class until he does it on a consistent basis. consistent.
You know,
Again, I
I
think
hear sorry.
very, very talented, but it can't just be when you want to. Not good enough. To me, you see the badge here, you're lucky to be playing for the club, so you show up every time. And if not, you're on the bench. And I know a lot of coaches have a hard time doing that, but I would sell him in the summer because one, again, consistency, and two, I think you can get the most profit out of any player on Leao. Like you were talking about earlier, some people have to go to make more money. I think if you sell Leao, he's your biggest asset. Yeah, you maybe take a small hit in jersey sales, but imagine you can buy 2 or 3 players with that salary. And that
Good youngsters.
so why not? Why am I keeping one guy who's, I mean, he's 26. He's still going to be hitting his prime, but he hasn't done it consistently at this point. So why would I keep one guy when I could take a gamble on 3 others? So to
And
me, it's a pretty easy decision.
yeah, and I hear a lot
Come
of
summer,
people
come summer.
I hear a lot of people say that Portugal is a dark horse team. They can make a deep run in this World Cup. And on paper, looking at it, yeah, I can see why people say that. But what just kills me is that that's kind of contingent on Leao playing some of his best football. And unfortunately, that's really what it is. You have Bruno Fernandes, fine. You have Bernardo Silva, fine. You need Rafael Leao to show up. You need him to be there. And yeah, like you said, dude, I'm going to show up today. Talk to me again in 10 weeks. And then I'll try to show up again for another 2-3 weeks. And then I'll take another siesta. It's just, he just can't be consistent. He just doesn't want to do it. I mean, I don't think it's a lack of ability or it's, whatever it may be. I think he just flat out refuses to just play football sometimes. It's weird. It's like he's a basketball player and just wants to rest.
Yeah, he's got that prima donna attitude, and it's just something that I personally don't gel with any of those kind of people. So I'm sure him and I would have conflict on the pitch if we were. Again, major talent, major talent. But if he just had that work ethic, imagine the ceilings he can
He's
hit.
so
He's got
good.
the physique, he's got the speed, he's got the strength. It's just lacking in that desire, man. So
Mhm.
yeah. The final player that we have here is going to be Christopher Nkunku. As you know, he was riddled with injuries at Chelsea. He's 27 years old, just first year with Milan, signed till 2030 at about 10.7 million a year. So this actually puts him on par with Rabiot as the highest paid player on the team. So what's your take on Nkunku?
Well, if we could get him out, sell him. I was saying to you when he first got signed that this was going to be great. This is awesome. Milan needs someone up top like this who has the creativity, who can try to link up between Leao and Pulisic and get something going. And Nkoku has done absolutely none of that. I mean, he tries too hard, I think, and that's one of his issues. And another issue of his that he thinks he has the vision of a Modric. And he tries to play these balls that are just so boneheaded and it's not smart football. It's just not. It's elementary stuff. If there's 3 guys surrounding you and they're not wearing the same jersey, you should pass it behind you. And he says, "How about I thread the needle, dude?" It sucks. It stinks. It stinks that Milan decided to buy this guy. It really, really stinks, and it stinks that it's January that we're doing this. Theoretically, so he has to stay. But if I could, I'd sell him. I'd sell him so fast.
So it sounds like you have him in the keep category for now.
He's in the middle for me. I mean, I'm not
Got to
gonna
put him in one.
directly list him for sale. All right, dude, sell him. Sell him,
Sell.
please. I'm trying to be smart and to know that I bought him in the summer. If I want to offload him in January, no one's gonna buy him. But I would honestly sell this guy and go the United route and take a punt at Xerxes. He was great. He was good at Bologna. Xerxes, there's a reason why he went for solid money. He was good at Bologna. Bring him in. He played there with Salamakers. See if there's some kind of chemistry still there.
For Xerxes, he's not getting my heart beating any faster unless it's out of frustration. I think there are definitely better players, but if it were between the two, I would definitely take Xerxes. Now, this is because of Nkunku's move at Chelsea. If you're talking about Nkunku at Leipzig, I think he would be stellar for this team. I thought he was going to be a gem over at Chelsea. And I don't know what it was, if it was the Premier League or what, but he was just injured, 90% of his time there, and the time that he
Yeah, it
did
felt
play,
like.
didn't
Yeah.
show up. So when Milan decided to sign Nkunku, I was like, what are we doing? Same thing like Rabiot, even though he's young, but he's on a high wage. He doesn't even start. So how is he your highest paid player, probably the most injury prone player, and doesn't start? What are we wasting our money on?
It's
I
just
get it.
like
Maybe jersey sales.
yeah, but these aren't going to sell jerseys. This isn't selling jerseys. Like you said,
Exactly.
no one's going to get a Rabiot kit. No one's getting a Koku kit. I mean, I have 2 Milan kits that I have both gotten since Pulisic has been there. None of them are Pulisic kits, unfortunately. Like, these aren't business decisions. Modric was a business decision. That one made sense. But if you're signing Rabiot and Nkoku to try to, get butts in the seats, that's not happening. That's never gonna happen, man.
Yeah, I do think it's a little unrealistic to sell him in January. He's only been here a few months, but I wouldn't have taken him in the first place. So first opportunity that I get, I would sell, and again, use that 10 million a year. If you add that with Rabiot, I know I keep bagging on Rabiot. I don't hate him, guys. Again, I don't hate him. Just I don't know why we're doing this, but that's 20 mil a year that you have to play with on other players. Tell me, we couldn't have kept Reinders for that? Come on,
No, I mean,
come on.
we couldn't because how
I
would
know
we
he
pay
wanted to
Nkoku
go.
and Rabiot their salaries if we kept Reinders? We needed to sell Reinders for dirt money so we could pay these guys all of it.
Well, I know Reinders wanted to go for trophies. I know, but maybe we could have convinced him on a better project, or, again, this probably applies more. And it was a few years ago to Tonali. Like, he wanted to play at Milan so bad. So many of these players, Milan's their the pinnacle for them.
Mhm.
It's like Bayern Munich for the Bundesliga, and we just okay, you want to go, okay, and we just let him go for nothing. But it is what it is. That's my piece on it, but we're cutting close to time. So final thoughts. Let's just talk real quick about the manager. Allegri, thoughts. I know we can't put him in any of these categories per se, but if you're the sporting director, I mean, it doesn't look good based on your face there.
See, Serie A and Italian football as a whole is stuck about 2 decades in the past. Yeah, I understand that's kind of the identity. Strong, defensively solid teams who are just gonna work harder than you and maybe have 1 or 2 just absolute wizards on the ball that are gonna slice you open. You don't know what happened. That was 20 years ago. Okay, it doesn't work anymore. It doesn't. Italy failed to qualify for a
Yeah.
World Cup. It doesn't work. Inter Milan got absolutely dude. If someone did to me what PSG did to Inter Milan, I'd be dead in a ditch somewhere. That's utter embarrassment. And that's the best team in Italian football, bar Napoli. But where did Napoli go in the Champions League? I mean, I understand the move to get Allegri. It made sense. Need somebody, a stopgap manager right now. But it doesn't seem like Allegri is going to be a stopgap manager. Seems like he's going to maybe be here for a minute, and this is his project, to get back in the top flight of Italian football. It's not going to happen. Not going to happen.
Yeah, I was actually a big fan of Allegri the first time he was at Milan. I was really sad to see him go. Won a Scudetto under him. But I didn't have that same feeling when he came back. I think he's kind of like Jose Mourinho, a little bit past his prime, too defensive. It's not exciting. And I know Italian football is based on having a strong defense, but it's just not entertaining. And when you see teams like Bayern and City and Barcelona, they're just so exciting. Sometimes maybe a little too unstructured defensively, but there's got to be a blend. I think Liverpool last year got it perfectly. I think when you have that blend, it's just beautiful. But I think Allegri is just too defensive. And even comparing it to against, the brothers down the street over at Inter, they're both playing with wingbacks. But why is it that Inter plays so much more exciting football compared to Milan? And it just goes down to tactics and whatnot. We have looked solid this year. I'm not going to deny that. We've been doing well. I can't take that away from him. And there's a lack of good managers out there. That is true. Serie A is not a destination where people want to go to. But I don't think Allegri was it. And signing him, whether we sack him eventually, is going to be large wages, again, just thrown on us. I think we could have found maybe an up-and-coming manager. I mean, the perfect ideal one that was available would be Klopp. But, I mean, as well as I do that, he's not
He's
coming
done.
out anytime soon, if at all. But I do think, maybe a De Zerbi or something a little bit new.
An Areola role at Bournemouth.
Yeah.
I mean,
What's that saying? Never go back to your exes, right? So why are we going back to Allegri?
I think, like you said, they need a manager. I'm saying Areola, and like you said, De Zerbi. Those are managers who I think can make a club be and perform better than what they truly are. I mean, when De Zerbi was at Brighton, anytime someone had to go and play that team, they were scared they're going to lose that game. Since he's left, they're not that same team anymore. I mean, teams are excited to go play Brighton Hove Albion again. I think Areola, now he's at Bournemouth. Dude, Bournemouth's one of the most exciting teams in the Premier League. They've offloaded Housen, Kirkes, Ruud, really good, solid defenders in the Premier League. And they're still very solid defensively. I think Areola can go to a Milan side where it's a bigger club, where he can now have more money to play with, has more pulling power, and he can really bring this team back. He's not going to have that true Premier League pressure that he's been under. He's not going to have to worry about, again, maybe if he wants to move on to a bigger club, if he wants to go somewhere in the Prem, he's not going to have that English pressure. It's going to be a different kind of pressure, granted.
Yeah.
Italian pressure is a whole different beast, but I think he'd be able to handle that better than he could in the Premier League.
Couldn't agree more. I mean, Glasner's another shout. We'll probably do another segment one day on potential manager removals. I know there's a lot moving around or potentially moving around this summer. I think maybe we should have just done an interim or done a 1-year contract and, called it a day. But
Yeah.
that's all we have time for today, everybody, on this episode of Tiki Taka. Let us know if you agree, disagree with some of the choices that we had here. If you like this video, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel. We will see you in the next one.
Bye-bye.